I remember seeing an ad for this game on PlayStation Magazine all those glorious days ago where you had to buy a magazine if you wanted the cheat codes for games like GTA. Having sat through almost 20 hours, I'm glad I didn't play this as a kid. I would have gotten so frustrated at some of the puzzles. Now as an adult, I can appreciate the game for what it is. The simple story with time-sensitive puzzles stands up today along with pleasant design of the worlds and characters alike. Originally released back in 2003-2004 for the Xbox, PS2, GameCube, and phones, the game has gone through many years of forgotten love, but up until recently, 2017, it was re-released and remastered, quote-unquote, for the PC, Linux, and Mac, and was just recently re-released on January 29th of 2019 for the Switch. It was developed by Eurocom, who went defunct back in 2012, and that had games under their belt like Lethal Weapon for the NES, Duke Nukem 64, Batman Begins, and a slew of other Disney games, just to name a few in their 24-year history, which I would love to cover their studio at some point. And if you'd like to see another Eurocom game, I do have a review for the retrospective for the Batman Begins games on this channel already, and I'll link it somewhere on screen. It was also published by THQ, may they rest in blessed peace. They also had a great slew of games, and I would love to cover some of their games in the future as well. The game really did leave on a cliffhanger, and as I'm aware, sadly, we never got a sequel. Maybe nowadays with all these remasters, re-releases, continuations, we'll get some kind of, end to that story. The story of Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy follows you as you take on the roles of Sphinx, a bipedal lion hybrid, and the living and then undead mummy Tutankhamun, as you solve puzzles, kick ancient mythological ass to free Osiris and defeat Set. Along the way, you have to return the jewels that Set stole, deal with the betrayal of a friendly rival, right your murder, return your canopic jars, collect powerful objects to prove to Anubis you are the one from prophecy, get stones to unfree people in the palace, and reunite with your love Nefertiti. Which is really weird because in real life, Nefertiti was King Tut's stepmother and mother-in-law, and King Tut's real wife was Ankhesenamun, his half-sister. I don't really know why they went with that. Kind of little gripe here. Although, I think the game forgot about Nefertiti because as soon as we see her in that little opening section, we don't see her anymore, even though she was heavily featured in marketing for this game. Along the way, you get help from various people, well, quote-unquote people, there's no humans in this game, and gods of Egypt like Anubis and Imhotep. No, not that one from the mummy that you're thinking of, but this one is a floating monkey that is your hey, here's your quest, do this, and here I'm gonna give you some powers and stuff along the way. It's a typical hero of an ancient prophecy, and you are the only one that can stop the evil. I wonder where we have seen games like that before. But anyways, I digress. I know this is just a game, but it's a game with a gripe, and this is the first gripe in a couple that I have with this game. The history is all messed up here. Honestly, 2016's Gods of Egypt, and oh my god, I've seen that, with Gerard Butler was more on the nose with its history than this game was. It's just a little nitpick. One of the, unfortunately, couple that I have with this game. So I am playing the emulated version, of course. I'm playing the emulated PS2 version. But I'm sure the PC version and even the Switch version will look much better than this. Or maybe not, I don't know. I would love to sit down and play the PC version at least. I've had a lot of issues with interlacing of this game on the emulator, and I had to force it into other modes, otherwise the picture would start to shake and bounce, and it would get actually very nauseating within 5-10 minutes, at least for me. And it just didn't look good on the capture. Other than that, it was really easy to get running, stable, and really good looking, and easy to force up to 4 or 5 times native resolution. And the characters look pretty dang good, if I say so myself. And the cutscenes look good. That's where the emulator really shines, is in the cutscenes. The Egyptian setting and mythology is what makes this game so special and what made it so appealing to me back then. Now we have games like Assassin's Creed, but then we didn't have a lot of games in this feel that did the Egyptian setting justice. And if you guys know me, you know before I want to be an artist, I want to be an archaeologist with a speciality in Egyptology. So this is my jam. Anything Egypt, my bread and butter. The cartoony feel of this game, while a little bit dated nowadays, really tells you that this is an older game, but it's endearing to my little heart. It's very much a, hey, look at this cute game, but be prepared to have your skills tested at the same time. This was around the time that mascot games like Crash Banjo, I'm sure we can think of a whole bunch of others, were really starting to fade out. Let us think, when was the time we really had a great platformer that wasn't a great, should say AAA, because there's a lot of great indie platformers, a great AAA platformer that wasn't an already established franchise? Look at Ukulele, some love it, but overall it wasn't well received. And that's not that it's being a mascot game. I know there's issues with it, with just programming, or it wasn't well received, gameplay problems with some people. Yes, I understand that. But this is from an era before that, right before that. The dungeons are massive, but in between there's just a lot of sand. Like, be prepared for some reddish yellow sand. You do have a hub city of Arbudos. I think even to this day I still say it wrong. But you will spend most of your time in the vast deserts of Heliopolis. Heliopolis, so much sand. You will travel from Anubis' tower to the South Beach with stops in between. As King Tut, you spend all your time in Castle Uruk, in various puzzle rooms and chambers. The enemies range from cute little cats with Wolverine claws that chase you around to two-legged jumping lizard-looking things with horns that remind me of a mohawk. To quick travel, you use this quite frankly horrifying Sphinx beast that screams, dissolves, teleports you, screams again while reassembling you, all with beautiful glowing red eyes. I know child me would have been horrified the first time I saw this. Adult me was definitely horrified. But everything looks good, the environments look good, the characters look nice, Sphinx looks nice. Maybe that's just the higher resolution I set it to, but everything just looks so cute and nice. The Cursed Mummy offers a semi-linear experience, which leads to giant areas that you can explore and some side quests to pick up that allow you to get items like crocodile scales to swim faster, the Hanza Amun that Tut gets for Sphinx to help him move heavy objects. You can also collect Ankh pieces to unlock more health orbs, but it's not mandatory. You do, however, have to collect a whole host of items that are mandatory for the story, but normal gameplay, you get them or they're given to you, like Basket, get it? Basket, named after the goddess Basset or Sekhmet, because they were later combined. Anyway, Basket returns items to Sphinx that the King Tut sections have recovered. The Book of the Dead, the Rosetta Stone, and the Zipline handle, just to name a few. There's literally like a good page and a half of items you have to collect. But since it doesn't log most side quests, it's easy to forget about them. I know I forgot about a few. Or, for my style of gameplay, it wouldn't have really made a difference if I got them. I wasn't going for 100%, I was just going for as much as I could get in one run. I will say though, this game does something that I hate in platformers. And I know hate is such a strong word. People use hate so freely nowadays, but I hate this aspect that a lot of platformers in the back in the day, even now, still do. As much as I love the puzzles and the combat, it's a fun time. The combat is just button mashing, hack and slash. I can get behind it. It still does something that I don't like, and that's timed puzzles. But I'm not talking about, you got a minute to finish this. I'm talking about time puzzles with no leeway. Like, if you are a second too slow or you accidentally miss the jump and you get back up, but then right as you get there it ends, it will reset the puzzle. Not a fan of that. Which you could argue is, a get-good scrub move, but this was marketed as a kid's game, remember. Kid me was not as dexterous as I am today, or as fast with my hands as I am today. I appreciate the challenge, but I'm not a fan of those time restrictions. Other than that, on the combat side comes from Sphinx, who you spend about 80% of the time being, even though it was shown in the marketing that, it's a 50-50 thing. Nah, about 80% of your time is being, Sphinx. He wields the Blade and Shield of Osiris with basic hack and slash combat and button mashing. It's not the worst, but it's a little stilted at times. You come across the age-old enemies that move faster than you, and that causes you to die a few times. Sphinx also has a blowpipe with different darts for different levels. Like there's an ice blowpipe and regular blowpipe and acid blowpipe, and interactions that require those blowpipes sometimes. He also has the ability to capture animals, which can be used for some puzzles, like lighting wood on fire or getting through smaller areas, and they can often aid you in combat as well, certain animals. The Cursed Mummy, or Tut, offers the level platforming side and puzzle solving side. Even though Sphinx does solve a few puzzles, most of it comes from Tutankhamun. Tut can be crushed, set on fire, electrocuted, split into 3, and a whole host of other effects to solve puzzles, and get the canopic jars containing his organs that will help him regain his human form and right his wrongful murder. There is no voice acting here. Other than a few noises, no voice acting at all. It's a real flashback to the mascot games of earlier, where there's no talking, just some text and noise scrolling text, that's it. The music is somewhat what you would expect, Arabian, Egyptian feel to it. But I just turn the music off and sound off after a while, because if there's no voice acting to pay attention to, I just don't want to sit there listening to the same music over and over again. Especially for one mission, well, it's not a mission, it's a side quest that you have to do in the desert, where you have to tell the farmers where to dig up, and you have to dig up every single plot, and it's just frustrating. I am beyond glad that I played this as an adult. I wouldn't have had the patience for this as a kid, especially when I had games like GTA already in my grasp. As much as I love the themes of ancient Egypt, this would have, worn on me, because kid me was not very patient. Adult me isn't patient. Kid me was doubly so. I may in the future, or I definitely do want to play the updated PC versions just to see the difference and see if, things have changed. Apparently there are a few game-breaking bugs in the console versions that were patched out for the Switch and PC versions. I'm assuming the Switch got these patched out. And according to the wiki, this is the bug. Using one of the save points in the mummy section, immediately following a particular cutscene that would reveal Horus's betrayal in the story, can cause the door to permanently be sealed if the play session is not immediately continued in all 3 console versions of the game. This traps the player, preventing further progress with no way to reverse the action. This forces the player to start from the very beginning of the game. And that section, Horus's betrayal, is, I would say halfway into the game. Like, could you imagine that? I've spent 20 hours in it, but I was just trying to do as much as I could. Let's say you're 5 hours, 8 hours in, and all of a sudden you have to restart. But you don't know why. Oof, that would be frustrating. Would I play it again? I want to play the PC versions, yes. Do I want a physical copy? Of course, yes, I want it. Give it to me now. Did I have fun? Yeah and no at the same time. Overall, was a solid time, but like a lot of older games that I've been playing, there are things we expect in today's gaming era that these just don't have or aren't standard practice in today's games, or today's games, it wasn't standard practice back then. Does it take away from the objective quality of the game? God no, this is still a fun game. I got to play a game that I've wanted to play for over 10 years, and it was a blast going back and experiencing. The only issue I had, aside from those bloody timed puzzles, was the inaccurate history, like why Nefertiti was his mother and stepmother, not his wife. Ankhesenamun, his half-sister, was his wife. Whatever. And sometimes the camera would freak out on me, but I really didn't have an issue with the camera here. This game made me feel like a kid again, which was nice. If you feel like you want to play this, I would say hit the PC version and the Switch version. Hit those updated versions. Although I can't vouch for how good they are, but if you love puzzle platforming mascot type games, you're gonna love this without a doubt. Although the ending and the cliffhanger of it will leave you a little disappointed. But who knows, in the days of all these sequels, remasters, remakes coming out, we might just get a second The Cursed Mummy.